Welcome back, Truth Seeker. I believe we're live. Want to cover a few more headlines buzzing around, and I see something in the market for this coming Monday. Market had its second poorly performing day following the prophecy of the January 9th, 1988 Economist cover, which predicted the one world currency and which foreshadowed the date October 10th, 2018, which now in history is the third worst performing day of the market all time. Today, another day that registered on that worst ever list. I think we might see the worst yet this coming Monday, and I don't expect it to be any better tomorrow either. So, been saying for a while, Donald Trump foreshadows the planned collapse of the economy. It's been foretold in a number of ways, from him being announced as the 45th president-elect on the anniversary of the fall of the wall, the Berlin Wall, November 9th, to the hit TV show House of Cards. And then you get Trump, like Trump card during the time of it. House of Cards means an economy that's about to implode. And all of this stuff is a mockery. So let's flip it over to the desktop and let's go through the headlines. We're going to work our way up to the market. And if we have time, I'm also going to read a little bit more from my book today, Letters and Numbers. Let's start here with Kanye West meeting with Donald Trump. We talked about why it was going to happen on this date. Let's review those things. Kanye West said he feels like Superman wearing the mega hat. We'll get to that. So again, today has 41 date numerology, and the name West in gematria equals 41, as in Kanye West. In case you're new here, what we do is we expose how every single day the news is contrived by this code. And it's more than just the news that is contrived this way. Pretty much everything that's done that comes through the media, from sports games to elections, all of it is contrived this way. We do not live in a democracy. We live in a rigged Masonic dictatorship. We're living out a script, people, and that's what I've been educating about nonstop since 2013. Tomorrow's news is planned. Economic collapses are planned. That Economist covers from 1988, 30 years ago. They had this date marked 30 years in advance, probably longer. So anyway, here we are today. What's today's news by the numbers? Kanye West and the chump. Date with 41 numerology. Again, West 41, that's the 13th prime number. Mega, that's what they call this hat, the mega hat, the Make America Great Again hat. Mega 13. West is also 13. If you're new here, there's 4 base ciphers. And just in case you are new here, in case you're wondering where you are, the way this works, it's very intuitive. The dark green cipher is the alphabetic order. The alphabetic order. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, up to Z, the 26 letters, 26. The next cipher is the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. Notice W is 5 here. W is the 23rd letter, but the numerology of 23 is 2 plus 3 is 5. E is 5. S is the 19th letter. The numerology of 19 is 1. T is the 20th. The numerology of T is, or 20 is 2. So you make each letter a single digit number, then you add the word. Right here we have the reverse alphabetic order. You just flip the alphabetic order around. You make Z1, you count back to A is 26. And here's the reverse alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. Now, all of these numbers are significant. Notice the word symbol has this gematria of 23. Kanye West, an absolute symbol. And the ones we're focusing on right now are 41 and 13. So anyhow, 41 date numerology, Kanye West front and center again. Mega also has that gematria of 86. When Kanye West was meeting with Donald Trump today, he brought about how he's married into the Kardashian family and how they have a lot of female energy. And he vibes with Donald Trump because Donald Trump has that masculine male energy. Then he went on to say how he grew up in a house with no father, so he's always wanted that male energy, and Donald Trump brings it. But notice, Mega 86, Kardashian 86. I call this the symbol number. Symbol, triangle, pyramid, all with the alphabetic order 86. And, I'm sure over here you'll notice the 41s, 23s, more symbol numbers. Kanye West, the symbol. Here's a famous symbol on top of 13 layers of bricks. The all-seeing eye. We're going to get to why the all-seeing eye matters and what it has to do with this meeting between Trump and Kanye West today. So consider this comes on the back of Kanye West saying that slavery was a choice. He later apologized for it. But today's date, it has the 41 numerologies we covered. Other paths, it's a date with 14 numerology and 59 numerology. Multiple paths for breaking down a date numerology, just like there's multiple ways for breaking down a word into numbers, but they're all significant. So Kanye West, fresh off the slavery remarks, in gematria, slave sums to 59 and 14. And here's, Kanye West stumping for Trump, who hasn't exactly been the best person towards anyone. I'm just thinking about in the time Donald Trump's been president. I remember there was a story about a black man getting beat up in his rally, and Donald Trump said he deserved it, which is, a pretty suspicious thing to say. You pretty much have an all-white attendance. One black guy gets beat up, and he says he deserved it. I mean, how are you supposed to interpret that? Notice here this Kanye West apologizing for slavery was a choice comment. A choice sums to 35, right? There's a reason they emphasize that, because they're emphasizing again today, Superman. See, Kanye West tells Trump mega hat made him feel like Superman. They emphasize that. Superman has that coding of 35 as well. Also has the coding of 46, just like rap. Kanye West, the rapper, he feels like Superman in the mega hat. And another word with gematria of 35 and 46 is I. Did you know that the mind's eye looks a lot like a pine cone? I bring that up because in the Catholic Church, Catholic has this gematria of 35 and 46 too. In these same ciphers right here, Catholic equals 35 and 46, like how JFK was the only Catholic president. He was number 35. He was killed at age 46. The Catholic Church is about capturing the mind's eye of the masses, and so is the media. It's all the same thing. And the reason the Catholic Church matters is because this code of letters and numbers, it's spread across the elites of this world through the Catholic Church. They're the source. Well, they're not the source of deriving the code, but they're the source of spreading it amongst world elites after the Crusades. So anyway, this news, it's about capturing the mind's eye of the masses. It's another day of distractions. Donald Trump used as a massive distraction every day. Kanye West uses a distraction every so often, always ritualistically by the numbers. Read Genesis 3:5. Has a lot to do with the I. And don't overlook that I is a three-letter word. E-Y-E. Like how there's three eyes in the human body, two on the face, one in the mind. And again, that pine cone, it looks like the mind's eye, the pineal gland. The Catholic Church has a giant statue of a pine cone right at the Vatican. Donald Trump went to the Jesuit Catholic school of Fordham. With regards to that 59 date numerology, like I mentioned, slave, Negro, blues, they all have gematria 59. And in recent days, Don Lemon has been talking a lot about what an idiot Kanye West is. Look at this headline right here. CNN panel mocks Kanye West as Trump's token Negro. Slave, Negro, blues 59. The token Negro in the White House by the numbers. But who's Don Lemon? He's CNN's token Negro. Lemon 59. And that's not an accident. Do you remember what happened earlier this year on Jackie Robinson's birthday? 3 dead black celebrities, all with 42 name gematria on Jackie Robinson's birthday, the man who wore 42. They were Rajuel Butler, Oscar Gamble. Oscar Gamble was a baseball player who died 42 days after his own birthday on Jackie's birthday. And Don Lemon's sister. And the story with Don Lemon's sister was that she drowned in a pond while fishing. Who's fishing on January 31st in the middle of winter? Clearly all 3 of these people were murdered. In the case of Don Lemon's sister, it was so he could do this on CNN. Participate in the propaganda, participate in the news by the numbers. I would love to go on Don Lemon's show and ask him about this. What's up with your sister who drowned in the pond? Come on, Don, tell us the truth. With regards to slavery in 59, May 9th, 5/9, like 59, that's the day the Civil War ended. Civil War that had a lot to do with slavery. Ended on May 9th, 5/9. It also began on the 102nd day of the year, April 12th, 1861. Slavery equals 102. War that had everything to do with slaves and slavery. Started by the numbers, ended by the numbers. Again, Motown Records came out in 59. Detroit's on the 42nd parallel. At the end, I'll read from my book and show you what's up with 42 and 59. Just as a reminder, HIV, which equals 42, traced back to 59 in the Belgian Congo. It's no accident that Kanye West, a young black man's in the White House with the orange Oompa Loompa. God, did you guys see Donald Trump today? I mean, he looked more ridiculous than normal. The big white bags around his eyes and then the rest of his skin bright orange. He looked just like an orangutan today. But anyway, from Trump's birthday to today is 119 days later. 119 days. That's the all-seeing eye. And again, they coded the number of I all over the headlines with Kanye West meeting with Trump and his remarks. Don't forget who controls the government, the money, the recording industry. It's one group of people. They control it all. Star of David 119, Orthodox 119. This whole code of letters and numbers is Jewish. Comes from the Jewish mysticism Kabbalah. It says God created the world by merging the letter with the number. And remember that all-seeing eye up on the 13 layers of bricks where we began. Because 13 is coded all over this story too. Kanye West with the mega hat. So, for one last point, I just noticed that there was that emphasis on the male energy. Kanye West likes Donald Trump for his male energy. I noticed there's a little connection there. Donald Trump 48, male energy 48, Kanye West 48. Call it a coincidence. Speaking of rappers and news by the number, Wu-Tang Clan, they're going to get a new TV show on Hulu. This news comes today, October 11th, 2018, the date with 41 numerology. Remember what was just in the news? The death of the ghostwriter for Wu-Tang, Lord Superb. They didn't put out what day he died. They said he died about a month earlier, but they announced his death on October 9th, 2018. And the thing about that date was it was the day leaving 83 days left in the year. Murder equals 83. They said he was the ghost writer for Ghostface Killah, who has a May 9th birthday. Go figure. From his birthday to the announcement of the news was 154 days later. Ritual Sacrifice 154. Wu-Tang Clan 54. Lord Superb, his birth name was Jamel. 41, dead at 41. And now look, just days later on the date with 41 numerology, a new TV show announced for the Wu-Tang Clan. You think this was the cost of admission? I do. This is the way it always works, if you pay attention. Somebody's moving up in the world, well, who just died in connection to him? Once upon a time, it was Old Dirty Bastard. He got it by the code. That's in my book. So here's also the latest on Hurricane Michael. At least 6 dead from Hurricane Michael, October 11th, 2018. At least 6 dead, huh? Look at that headline, like an atomic bomb. We're going to get to that part. But there's the thing about 6. When you write out 6 as a word, it sums to 52. Like hurricane, like where this hurricane made landfall, Mexico Beach 52. And as I wrote about in my book, in the chapter on weather warfare, all of these storms are always centered and coded around the number 52. Like in this case, it came 52 days, the landfall, before the governor's upcoming birthday. The same man born in 52, where since 1952, world militaries have admitted to having the technology to induce flash flooding by creating chemistry in the skies. Royal Air Force, they admitted that by cloud seeding, putting chemicals in the sky, they could attract enough moisture to pour enough rain to flood out a place. 1952. Think about how many years ago that was. As many years as Rick Scott's been on this earth, even longer. 65 years ago, coming up on 66 years. But flooding Earth also 52. So this is why they report 6 dead, just made up numbers every single time. Like I write about in my book, they just make up numbers for the dead that just fit their rituals. And the other thing I talk about in the book is how for the better part of a century, they tested atomic and nuclear bombs in the sky to enhance storms for the sake of weather warfare. So check this out. Turned on CNN when I was having lunch today, and I heard him say this: Mexico Beach is ground zero for the storm. And I said, really? They're using the term ground zero? Yesterday, they had up the headline, "It looks like a bomb went off," which has the same gematria as ground zero. Looks like a bomb went off, ground zero, gematria overlap. And the thing about ground zero is, until the date of September 11th, it only had one definition for ground zero. Ground zero only meant one thing: the point on the Earth's surface directly above or below an exploding nuclear or atomic bomb. And I want you to think about what gave birth to the atomic and nuclear weapons. It was the Manhattan Project. The Manhattan Project, like where the World Trade Centers were, like how they called that site ground zero after those buildings were pulverized into dust and the majority of the material from the buildings vanished, blown away in the air. That took a lot of energy, a lot of force, you know. You know what else I noticed? I'll just go off a little tangent right now. I don't know how I never noticed this before, unless I did and forgot about it. Oh, it's a nuclear weapon. I noticed that nuclear weapon has this gematria 68 today. And if I'd talked about this in the past, I forgot, but today it just stuck out like a sore thumb because 1968 is the year that World Trade Center construction began, the year that 911 was made the national emergency dialing code, the year that George W. Bush graduated from Yale and was Skull and Bones, the year that Space Odyssey 2001 came out, again, the only year the Jets won the Super Bowl, the New York Jets, 9/11. But 68, nuclear weapon, Manhattan Project. The Manhattan Project started way before 68, you know? Like I pointed out, there was the 93 World Trade Center bombing. Then after the 93 World Trade Center bombing, they worked for months under the World Trade Centers. And just months earlier, they had concluded the underground weapons testing program of nuclear and atomic detonations, just months before the 93 World Trade Center bombing. Now, call me crazy, but if they did 50-some years of research of blowing up bombs underground, for what purpose was it? What were they trying to figure out how to demolish so perfectly underground? Then they got to work conveniently under the World Trade Centers in Manhattan for months. What did they put down there? Could it have been the charges that turned the buildings to dust on September 11th, 2001, the day that they had planned years and years in advance? You know? So anyway, coming back to this storm that was like an atomic bomb and the nation that detonated thousands of bombs in the sky and below ground for God knows what purpose. Well, actually, we kind of know what purpose. And it was just last year, too, where I was seeing all these headlines about nuclear hurricane. They referred to Harvey as a nuclear hurricane, Irma as a nuclear hurricane, Maria as a nuclear hurricane. Irma was what hit Florida last year. Here's last year. Irma is a nuclear hurricane. You know? Just that it's all a coincidence. Ground zero, like an atomic bomb went off. They made a movie called Nuclear Hurricane. Isn't that sick? But check out nuclear weapon and energy, just using the alphabetic order. 74. The World Trade Centers. Look at this. I'll just show you. What do you think the coordinates are the World Trade Center? Coordinates for New York World Trade Centers. Oh, same thing, New York City. It's on the 74th meridian. you know, Manhattan Project. So nuclear weapon energy, they all have gematria 74. So does hurricane. And in Hebrew, hurricane also sums to 74. And on the Saffir-Simpson scale, the qualifying wind speed for a hurricane is 74 miles per hour. It's almost as if they planned all these things long in advance, like they were working towards a goal, like they wanted to have this kind of control and it followed this numerological code. Remember, 74 is their big boss number. English is 74, gematria is 74, Masonic 74, Jewish is 74, occult 74. Jewish people write God, G-D, the seventh letter, hyphen, the fourth letter, 74. The first nuclear test was the Trinity test, another 74. They did that on a date with 33 numerology, how they love to bring the 33 and 74 together. A lot of things jump out about that date. Also a date with a life lesson number 42. But I mean, these headlines, it looks like a bomb went off. Same gematria as ground zero. Isn't it something? Isn't it something? So I've seen I'm sure you've seen the images in the media of how this town's just totally flattened. And it looks like it was only a place with a population of 1,000. Like I've said before, a strategy of these targeted storms is to destroy poor communities. And then after you've destroyed the town and displaced the people, bring in something more lucrative. Is it possible that they want to do something better with Mexico Beach? They have some other plan for Mexico Beach, some new real estate, some new experiments. We'll have to see what happens to Mexico Beach in the years ahead, because it looks like all 1,000 people who live there have been displaced. And as flat as the town looks, it's hard to believe that only 6 people are dead, but we know why they reported that number. So as we talked about yesterday, there was even a riddle with the targeted and planned storm and the targeted and planned collapse of the economy. October is usually a wild month with news stories. Notice how Dow Jones in October overlap in the 3 of the 4 base ciphers. Perfect overlap in 3 of the 4. Today's date, big collapse today. Today we fell 545 points after the nearly 832 point fall yesterday. So down, more than 1,300 points in 2 days. But again, I mean, the market is a house of cards, just like the TV show told us. There's no reason for the market to be as high as it is. Today's collapse came on a date with 39 numerology. 39 numerology, like how Dow Jones in October also have the gematria 39. Yesterday we were talking about the riddle from the Old Testament, King Solomon's 666 talents of gold. 39 books in the Old Testament. People who control the market, control the money, they definitely go by the Old Testament. 10:10, think about the 10 commandments from the Old Testament. 10 has that gematria 39 too. Yesterday, 10:10, kicking it off. The predicted date from The Economist, again, January 9th, 1988. Tomorrow, just as a little heads up for tomorrow, tomorrow has a life lesson number 33. October and Dow Jones also 33. See what the market does tomorrow. But the date I'm really watching out for now, after thinking about this more, is Monday. Black Monday 31 years ago, October 19th, 1987. This year, Monday is going to be October 15th. And I'll show you what's up with October 15th. But look at this. Black Monday was a really bad day for all of the markets of the entire world. And what's interesting about that date, October 19th, 1987, is it had numerology of 135. Wall Street has this gematria of 135 with the alphabetic order and the reverse alphabetic order. 135 both ways. 135. With regards to 1987, that was 31 years ago. 31 is the 11th prime number, and black has the gematria of 11 too. And we know how these people love to make history repeat itself. So the closest Monday to October 19th is October 15th. This year, October 19th will be a Friday. Could we get a Black Friday too? But check this out. October 15th, 2018. This year, that's a date with numerology of 63 and 36. In the base ciphers, the reduction ciphers, Wall Street's 36 and 63. A lot like how the numbers corresponded with Black Monday 31 years earlier. And the other thing about Monday is it has gematria of 72 like money. Also 27, Monday and money. And notice money is also 63 like the date numerology. The thing is, Donald Trump, who's at the center of this riddle, remember, President Trump equals 72. He's 72 years old. Trump equals 88, like how the Economist prediction was from 88. We talked about how yesterday his grandmother, Elizabeth, would have turned 138 years old. Donald Trump's 138. The market fell 831.83 points. And it reminded how Donald Trump was announced as the president on the fall of the Berlin Wall, a wall where construction began August 13th, 13/8, 138. In light of Donald Trump being announced as the president-elect on the anniversary of the fall of the wall, November 9th, 11/9, like how Donald's 119, like how his news with Kanye came 119 days after his birthday, as well as today's back-to-back claps. Yesterday was his 119th day of his age. Today's 119 days after his birthday. Just remember that Black Monday was October 19th, 1019. Lose the zero, you got a 119 as well. That number's always hanging around tragedy, like September 11th. But very interesting here how Monday of 2018, coming 31 years, lines up with the Wall Street gematria and the date numerology. Looks like a big deja vu here in the planned scheme of things. So I am interested to see what happens Monday. I think the market has to come down a long, long ways because, again, there's no reason for it to be up where it is in the first place. It doesn't make any sense. You know, again, not that long ago, the Dow Jones was around 10,000. It wasn't all that long ago. What, a decade ago? I mean, and it was around that level for quite a while. Then just all of a sudden, the market just goes through the roof. It doesn't make any sense for it to be this high in this short of a period of time. So it's not like everyone is benefiting from this market. It's not like the whole nation's way richer. In fact, there's more people who are in poverty. There's less middle class. So it just doesn't make sense for the market to be where it is. It's not a reflection of the populace. It's like it was just inflated for this planned demise that is now underway. And usually when markets tank, there's a little bit of a roller coaster. So it's possible that tomorrow there's somewhat of a bounce back day, and maybe, you know, people are like, oh, it's just going to go back up. But I don't think so. I was watching CNN today, and they told investors not to worry, just to sit tight and ride it out. Everything will be fine in no time. I don't think so. I don't think that's what the plan is. I think they're trying to catch people off guard. So I'm watching for Monday. And I'm going to keep watching after that too. But the way the numbers line up, Monday is very interesting. So I wish the news was better, but this is the world we're living in. People getting murdered for rituals. You know, cities getting wiped out for rituals. I suppose just a little military experiment, taxpayer dollars at work. To the tyrants, what's a town of 1,000 people? You know, nothing but a roadblock for their next real estate project. But I mean, just think about it. All the years this stuff's been going on, and people they just have been apathetic to all of it. Oh, I don't care that my government's blowing up bombs in the sky. I don't care that my government's blowing up bombs underground. I trust my government. Here, let me send off my next shipment of tax dollars. I don't care if 2/3 of the year, you know, I don't care if 2/3 of the year that I work, my money gets shipped off to the government, taxes, healthcare, education, all the things we get ripped off for. We're living out the consequences of the apathy of the generations that came before us. And as far as I can tell, most people are still pretty apathetic. Most people don't care about the truth. Most people don't got $5 for a book that could turn on some light bulbs. But real quick, I'm going to go out to the chat, and then I'm going to read a little bit from the book. So I got to get back to the chat here. See what people got to say. The answer's above. He's most worried about the transgender freaks. I'm no big fan of the trannies either. I used to work at a teen homeless shelter where they hired a transgender person. This was about a decade ago, and that transgender person was a real wreck of a human being. And instead of being there to help out these youth who were definitely in need, that person was there to like fight with the youth every day and have a pissing match with them and just be a crazy person. And they said that they had to keep this person around because firing him would be a lawsuit in a second, be some discrimination thing. And I was thinking, what? I mean, you can't just fire them because they're a horrible employee. I mean, this person's just bringing tragedies here. And, the administrators were like, well, they're taking testosterone pills, so they have all these things going on in their body. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. That's why they shouldn't be working here. I mean, yeah, we live in a nonsensical world, but that said, as annoying as the trannies can be, that's a pretty minuscule problem compared to the fact that we got weather warfare going on, planned collapses of the economy, people being murdered. So somebody said I've been offline for 5 minutes. Have I really been offline? I didn't know I was disconnected. What's up, Frank? I always see you say that, hey, Frank's here from Chicago. I didn't know I lost my feed. At what point did I lose the feed? What was I talking about when I lost the feed? As soon as I address New York and nuclear bombs, it cut off. Unfortunately, I can't remember what order I was talking about things in. Hold on, I got to ask you guys more questions. Did I cover all the points about the ground zero of the storm and all that before I got into the New York and Manhattan Project thing? I had no idea I was offline. It doesn't like give me an alert or make a sound when I go off. Well, I'm when I speak, I don't speak from notes or anything, so I'm just kind of freestyling. But I was just talking about how I'll just go over again and say what I said about New York because I don't know what all got missed. But again, the plan, think about how it was a secret plan to develop these weapons. It was called the Manhattan Project. And when 9/11 happened, it happened in Manhattan, New York. And Manhattan's on the 74th meridian, nuclear energy weapon. They're all 74. The World Trade Centers were on the 74th meridian. The definition of ground zero is the place above or below ground that a nuclear or atomic bomb detonates. And atomic bomb has gematria of 93. Think about the 93 World Trade Center bombing. After that bombing, they worked underneath the towers for months. And the other thing is, just before the 93 World Trade Center bombing, the U.S. had just concluded about 50 years of underground weapons testing. Nearly half a century of underground weapons testing. So you got to say, well, what were they practicing all that time, detonating hundreds of bombs? And I mean, you just think about it, it's just like a logical thing. Manhattan Project, underground weapons testing, powerful explosives. And then you think about what happened on 9/11, where they called the the site of the destruction, ground zero, which before that day, the only definition for ground zero was the place above or below ground where a bomb detonates, just like how they're now calling Mexico Beach ground zero, with these headlines about atomic and nuclear storms. But I mean, the evidence is just all there for what they've done. They put it all right in front of our face. Manhattan Project, the World Trade Center's turned to dust in the air. That takes a lot of energy and force. So did you guys hear anything I said about the market and what I expect for this coming Monday? Was I on when I was talking about that? Blind Sheik. Somebody says the Blind Sheik did the Twin Towers. I know they're joking, but Blind Sheik equals 93, just like 93 World Trade Center bombing. Okay, so I cut out for the market too. Okay, let's go back over the market. All right, so look, I'm expecting that, let me just point out all these things again, because I don't know where I cut out. So the market did really bad today for the second day in a row, October 11th, 18. And again, we were watching out for the date 10/10/2018 because that was the date that the Economist magazine cover foreshadowed from 30 years earlier. And what ended up happening was the third worst day of market performance in history. So today, another really bad day for the market, not quite as bad as yesterday, but pretty terrible. Today has 39-date numerology. And look at Dow Jones in October in Gematria, 33, 111, 39. October's been a rough month for the market in history. And for the record, tomorrow has a life lesson number at 33, also like Dow Jones in October. It'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. Whatever happens tomorrow, I expect Monday to be an unpleasant day. It was 31 years ago, Black Monday, October 19th, 1987, that the market tanked across the world. And the thing about October 19th, 1987 is it was a date with numerology of 135. 135. And in Gematria, Wall Street equals 135, forwards and backwards. Really bad day for the markets across the entire world, including Wall Street. Now, that was 31 years ago, 1987. 31's the 11th prime number. Black Monday, the word black has gematria of 11. Think about how Wall Street's in New York, the 11th state. Now, here's what's up with Monday, this coming Monday. It's October 15th, 2018, a date with numerology of 63 and 36. And in the base ciphers, Wall Street also sums to 63 and 36. And we know how these people love to make history repeat itself. The other thing about Monday is it has gematria overlap with Monday. You see that? Money also has the 63 connection. We got that prophecy from the back of our minds from The Economist, the one world currency, the date 10/10/2018. I think it's going to be a roller coaster with the market for a while, and it's going to continue to dip and fall because it's all been foreshadowed through The Economist, through Donald Trump being announced as the 45th president-elect on the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall, like the fall of Wall Street. He's Trump, announced as the president-elect during the time of the hit show House of Cards about the presidency, where House of Cards means an economy on the verge of collapse. So those were the main points I covered. I reminded that the Economist prediction was from 88, Trump equals 88. Yesterday, his grandmother would have turned 138 years old. Donald Trump equals 138. Federal 138. Think about the Federal Reserve. Think about the federal conspiracy we're living out. Yeah. Tomorrow has the big Masonic numbers, but we'll see what happens tomorrow. It could be a bounce back day tomorrow, setting up an even bigger fall Monday, or it could be another terrible day tomorrow and then an even worse day Monday. The direction is down, though. I might have been cut out when I was saying it before, but there's no reason for the market to have gotten as high as it did. They only brought it up this high for their planned demise. It's all part of a big sick joke. They brought it up to 26,000 because that number's so significant. God's 26, dollars 26, banks 26. We're just being played with. I mean, for many years, the market was like around the 10,000 mark. And when it eclipsed 10,000, it was a big deal. And it wasn't all that long ago, and in a relatively short period of time, we've gone, nearly to 30,000. It just doesn't make sense. The average American's not doing nearly as well as what the market reflects. The very rich are doing well. The middle class is depleted. There's more people in poverty. So, the market's not even a true reflection of the people. It's just this symbol in the media. And, something they used to fleece us. Think about when Bush was going out. He said, "Oh, if you guys don't, give us this multi-trillion-dollar bailout, then your country's going to be over." And what did that do for us as a people? That just made more of our tax money go to the super rich and less money to other things. That's why we just need to get rid of the federal government. Period. Just here to manipulate us and exploit us. Should we be taking money out of the bank, anyone? I wouldn't take your money out of the bank. It's not going to matter at this day and age anyway. Most people hardly even have paper money in their hands. It's all credit cards and electronic currency and direct deposit and shopping online with e-money. So I don't think taking the money out of the bank's a big deal. Most of you have plastic cards. So. That's too bad that the live feed keeps cutting out. We haven't had these problems so far, but I guess it was just a matter of time. Hey, earlier I was doing a live feed by accident on my sports channel. I thought I was on this channel, but I was on my sports channel talking about the regular news. And I noticed that there were no likes. And I said, "Hey, how come you guys don't like the video?" And it literally went from like 20 likes to 80 some likes in a matter of like 30 seconds. So I just want to see if that happens again. Right now it says 200 and some people are watching, but it says there's only 40 some likes. So I just want to see if some of you who are actually watching can hit the like, because the point of hitting the like button is when a video has more likes, it's more likely to show up in other people's feeds who aren't familiar to this work. But I notice right now the likes are not going up. So either they're capped or my sports audience was better earlier. All right. Well, since this live stream's not doing so well, oh, the likes just went way up. See, look at that. The likes went up to 94. All of you guys out there who have to be reminded to like videos, you should just like a video anytime you come in, just automatically. And the purpose of liking it, now it's over 100. Look at that. The purpose of liking a video is, again, so that it is more likely to show up in more people's feeds. By hitting that like, it's like in a way you're helping share the video. Thank you for liking. I appreciate it. And earlier today with the sports people, when we did the same little experiment, I said, "Now can we do the same thing with buying the book?" And that didn't work at all. So I'm not even going to try that trick again. I don't want to be disappointed twice. But here, I'm gonna read the book right now, and as I read, I'm gonna come back and check consistently to make sure I haven't been cut off. I started this video with the significance of Kanye West meeting with Donald Trump on this date with 59 numerology after his remarks about slavery. So let's read from my book, chapter 18, the chapter on the race war. And again, I'm gonna pause every so often and come back just to make sure I'm still on the air, because I did not know I was disconnected before until I read the chat. So chapter 18, how the media programs the purposeful race war. You're likely aware of the number 42 being associated with Jackie Robinson, said to be the first black baseball player in white Major League Baseball. If you saw the film put out about his story titled 42, it got criticism for using the word, I'm not going to say this word anymore because I actually had a video deleted for saying it, but for using the N-word too often. It is reminiscent of how in the O.J. Simpson trial, it was reported under testimony that Mark Furman was heard using the N-word 42 times in a single conversation. But ask yourself the question, who would ever keep such a count? Can you imagine someone tallying each use of the word and then going, my God, 42 times? I'm going to remember this. As we'll get to, the entire O.J. Simpson trial was a made-for-TV hoax by the numbers meant to create racial animosity as it did and was scripted by the long noses. With that said, let's get to what the number 42 is all about. The N-word sums to 42. Jackie sums to 42. Orenthal sums to 42. That's O.J. Simpson's real name. Brothers sums to 42. Boy 42. Bus 42. Rosa Parks on the back of the bus, born February 4th, a date written 4/2. Slavery 42. History 42. Tuskegee 42. February 42. Martin 42. Malcolm X 42. Don't forget the sitcom Martin. He lived in apartment 42. Huxtable 42. Cosby Show 42. Muhammad Ali 42. Muhammad Ali was also born in the year 42 and got Parkinson's at age 42. Think he was injected? I do. LeBron James 42. Born December 30th, the only day in the calendar year that adds up to 42. If you watch the sitcom Martin, he lived in apartment 42, and now you know why. Also, for historical accuracy, Jackie, who wore number 42, was not the first black baseball player in white Major League. If you look at MLB.com, that honor belongs to Moses Walker, who played in exactly 42 career games. Want to guess his name, Gematria? Moses Walker, 42. And on the subject of Jackie Robinson, I should mention that on January 31st, 2018, what would have been his 99th birthday, there were 3 celebrity deaths reported in the media, all of which were individuals being of African descent. Those individuals were Oscar Gamble, former MLB star who died 42 days after his own birthday, which was December 20th, 2017. Rajuel Butler, a former NBA star who died in a car accident like Jackie's son, and LaTanya Lemon, the sister of Don Lemon of CNN News. Adding insult to injury, all 3 of these people had names summing to 42 in reduction gematria. Oscar Gamble, 42, LaTanya Lemon, 42, Rajuel Butler, 42. And that's our most pure cipher as well. As you'll learn, this is just a short list of Black history-related items and the number 42. The number is also coded in more ways than just names, such as Rodney King, who was beaten by the LAPD March 3rd, 1991, and was said to have been born April 2nd, 4/2, 1965, not unlike 42. In the case of his name gematria, it equates to 59, the other number stamped on Black history and closely related to 42. Take a look again at the N-word and notice how the breakdown is 597759, with the sequence of 59 twice within. We learned a bit about this number in the chapter on wars by the numbers in the Civil War ending May 9th, 1865, or 5/9. On the subject, let us decode the name gematria of Rodney King, who supposedly died of accidental drowning at the curious age of 47. As we decode, think about how his name reminds of the great civil rights leader. Rodney King, 59. Let us now decode the numbers 5 and 9, noticing how they both connect back to the number 42 as follows. 5 equals 42, 9 equals 42. As for LaTanya Lemon, who we just mentioned dying at age 42 on Jackie's birthday, the story was she tripped and drowned in a pond while fishing. As unlikely as that story is, the gematria pond tells us what really happened. Pond, 59. Let us now revisit some of the 59 words that connect to the Black race through the English language, a language crafted by the false Jews who have stolen the identity of the real Jews, those of African descent, who are the Black people of the world. As we decode, let us not forget that the false Jews also opened Motown Records, the black label, in 1959, emphasis 59, and on the 42nd parallel north, where Detroit is located. Let us also not forget that the first famous black golfer in a predominantly white sport who is now being shamed regularly in the media is named Tiger Woods, where the word tiger is a substitute for the N-word in the old rhyme, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Tiger's birthday is also December 30th. 12 plus 30, 42. And since I wrote this book, we saw the death of Aretha Franklin, dead on a date with 42 numerology, recorded 42 studio albums, born in 42, dead in Detroit, Motown, by the numbers. But anyway, with regards to 59, Negro equals 59, Slave 59, Blues 59, Rasta 59, Jigaboo 59, Cotton Picker 59, Tiger 59, Woods 59, Huey 59. Think about Huey P. Newton. Louis Farron 59. Think about Louis Farrakhan. Ali 59. Think about Muhammad Ali, who supposedly gave up his slave name. Obamacare 59. Think about it. Eminem 59. Think about it. Cracker 59, Jack Robinson 59, Michael Jordan 59, Black Mamba 59, Stokely Carmichael 59, Dr. Ben Carson 59, Black History Month 59. February ends on the 59th day of the year in non-leap years, February 28th. And again, February, the month that sums to 42. Now we will reestablish why the numbers 42 and 59 are stamped on black people. It has everything to do with the Bible, where the code comes from. Again, the New Testament begins with the 42 generations to Jesus Christ, the Savior, who was black, as is made clear in Revelation 1, where the hair of wool and glowing bronze skin is described. New Testament 42, New 42, Savior 42, Sin 42. See the Egyptian 42 laws of Ma'at, which begins with I have not sinned. Jesus Christ sums to 59 in septenary cipher. Outside the Bible, in Season 4, Episode 2 of the hit TV show The 100, which has a major biblical angle, including crucifixions, the 47-year-old Thelonious Jaha, who becomes a sort of spiritual messiah as the show progresses, tells the story of how he oversaw the deaths of 42 people in Sector 5 before he became a better man, more enlightened. Notice the name gematria of the character, who is commonly called Jaha for short. And please know that a black man plays the part of this character. Thelonious Jaha equals 59. Jaha also equals 11, like Jesus. The long noses are actively putting out the truth for the world to see, but they aren't expecting anyone to pick up the code and make sense of the information they're releasing through their propaganda, news, and endless entertainment. All of that is about to change, however, and I know the black people who are the most awake to the tyranny of this world due to the circumstances they so often face and who are blessed to find this knowledge are going to connect dots fast, coming to understand why there is an agenda to destroy them as a people. It is about jealousy, it is about envy, it is about greed, and it is about bearing the truth and lies while recreating history the way they want it to be remembered. In light of the coding of 59 on the black race and the agenda to destroy, let us not forget that the word kill equates to 59 in Jewish gematria. And Jesus Christ, who was a black man, who was a Jew, was put to death by the false ones on the crucifix. On the subject of the killing of the cross, please recall that crucifix, God's Son, Nazareth, Gospels, and more equate to 93 in gematria terms. We're going to use this number to transition into the deaths of two of the most remembered black leaders in the history of the United States, Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr., who were both killed at age 39. Before we get to their deaths, however, we must look at the gematria of Black History Month. As we decode, keep in mind the history of the Tuskegee study, which supposedly began in 1932, where Negro equals 32, by observing 399 black men with untreated syphilis. Many historians contend that in truth, these men were injected with syphilis to observe what symptoms they would take on after being given the disease. Black History Month equals 93, like Tuskegee, like Huxtable. Important points to mention that will factor into the encoding of the names of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr., neither of which were their birth names, are that the two men only met one time in history, March 26, 64, a date with numerology of 93, which was precisely a span of 333 days before the assassination of Malcolm X, February 21st, 1965. And in the case of King, he also gave a well-remembered speech on April 3rd, 1968, the 93rd day of the year in non-leap years, the day before his assassination, hinting that he might soon be gone. That speech is remembered as, "I've been to the mountaintop." Malcolm X equals 93. Martin Luther King Jr. 93. Rosa Louise Macaulay Parks 93. Malcolm X would be killed on February 21st, 1965, a date with a life lesson number of 44, and the right date for a mock crucifixion. When he died, it was 87 days before his 40th birthday, where Muslim has ordinal gematria of 87, and Malcolm X was a former member of the Nation of Islam. Keep in mind his birthday was May 19th, which is the 139th day of the year, corresponding with Freemasonry, as well as being the day leaving 226 days left in the year, a number that has a relationship with 93, as you learned. Earlier in this book, if you'd read the whole book, we would have gone over that part. Think about the February 26th, 93 World Trade Center bombing. When you write out 226, it sums to 93. And the reason for that relationship has to do with the word planet and the word Saturn. Anyhow, let us now examine the overlap with the date of his death and the word crucified plus more. Crucified has the gematria of 221. Dead on 2/21 February 21st. Crucified also has gematria of 42. Crucifixion also has gematria of 42. Crucified also has gematria of 33, reminding of Jesus at age 33 on the cross. The assassin was said to be Thomas Egan, who went by the alias Talmadge X. He would receive 44 years in prison for the killing of Malcolm X. The date of the killing had 44 numerology. The word kill equals 44. The word shooting equals 44. Crucifixion also has the gematria of 44. Thomas Egan, 44. Talmadge X, gematria 33. Think about how the X is a cross and how Jesus was nailed to the cross at age 33 in light of the gematria of Talmadge X, who reportedly ended the life of Malcolm X. The name Thomas Egan also corresponded with X's death at age 39. Thomas Egan has gematria of 39 in the septenarian Chaldean cipher. Thomas Egan also has gematria 93 in the Kabbalah cipher. Crucified has gematria of 393 in the Satanic cipher. So, you guys, I could go on. There's so much more. There's a ton more to this chapter. But in light of me reading about this in connection to Kanye West's news today, just somehow, in case you've missed my work on Kanye West and his new album, Yandhi, this whole thing with black men and Jesus. Look at this. This statue appeared at Kanye West in Hollywood on February 22nd, 2017. Date was 61 numerology, Yandhi 61, Jesus 61, Yeezus, Kanye's alias 61, Cross 61, Church 61, Christian 61, John 61. Think about Tupac, who had another rap name overlapping with Jesus. The last album recorded while he was alive, Machiavelli, the cover is him on the cross. That album was released 53 days after Tupac's death. Religion equals 53. This statue right here came out February 22nd, the 53rd day of the year. Again, religion, 53. And if you missed my work on Kanye West and Yandhi, the album was first supposed to release on September 29th, the day leaving 93 days left in the year. Crucifix, God's Son, Nazareth, same patterns. But then they moved it back to November 23rd, the day leaving 38 days left in the year. So it's also a date with 34 numerology. But you can just see that these rituals are not by accident. And all throughout history, black men have been killed in connection to these numbers, music made by these numbers, all sorts of rituals by these numbers, and they point to just one thing. And, there might be a guy in the chat right now who's commenting like, "Oh my God, I can't believe Zach thinks Jesus is black." Look, first of all, I don't even know if Jesus ever really existed, honestly. But the other thing is, there's only two physical descriptions of him in the Bible, and it's a man with hair of wool and burnt brass skin. So if that doesn't describe a black person, and if all this mockery from the people who we know are the false Jews isn't another clue, then I don't know what to say, I don't know what to say. And I don't know what your argument is for what Jesus' true physical description is. And it's not really something I want to argue about, but I'm just saying, isn't it obvious that this is what the rituals are and this is what the evidence shows and this is what's being done? Truth always writes white hair or wool, but so what? Have you not seen an older black man? Older black people get white hair. I mean, why does it matter if his hair is white? The point is, it's hair or wool. There's only one race that has hair or wool. So we got somebody here saying, here, I got to make sure I spell his name right. The Ethiopian man who was, I believe he died at age 83. How do you spell it? Haile Selassie. The Rastafarians believe that he was Jesus in the flesh, and he is in my book as well. But here, I got a blog post somewhere. Be easier to look up. Marcus Garvey, another guy who got it by the code. Look at Marcus Garvey's full name. Marcus Mosiah Garvey Jr., another 93. You know what I mean? But here, where's Haile Selassie? I got him on here. There we go. He died August 27th, 1975, of the Solomonic dynasty. Haile Selassie, gematria of 83. Solomonic dynasty, 83. Jesus Christ has the gematria of 83. Ethiopia has the gematria of 83. Murder, the gematria of 83. He also has the gematria of 227, the 49th prime. Lord equals 49. He died on the 239th day of the year, which is the 52nd prime. Notice his name gematria also sums to 52. Fitting day for him to be murdered. Ethiopia also has the gematria of 52. He's worshipped in Jamaica 52. Solomonic dynasty 223. The synagogue of Satan 223. Masonic 223. So again, the entire world of religion is controlled by Masonry. So none of that surprises me, but if you believe he's Jesus in the flesh, then you're welcome to believe that. But I don't know. Looks like he was part of the cartel to me, honestly. Him fitting the scripture to the T, I mean, what does that prove? I mean, who created this scripture as we know it? Who's reenacting this scripture? You know, who's carrying out all these rituals in the world according to the Bible code? So, but believe what you want. Yeah, I have a feeling we're going to see Bush Sr. go November 8th. It just makes too much sense after this wedding. November 8th is a span of 33 days from the wedding. Wedding's 33, Mary 33. Barbara Bush Jr. got married on his 118th day of his age. I won't be surprised if he goes November 8th. Yeah, you know what Jeffrey's saying right now, that Jesus was not a man but an allegory. That's what I tend to believe too. But you know, everyone's going to believe what they want to believe. Somebody points out that the Giants lost to a score of 33 the last 2 weeks. It's interesting. I didn't notice that. This Rebecca loves Joshua. Look, I unbanned you from the. I took out everybody who was banned from the chat to give you guys all a second chance. This isn't a religious forum, and honestly, I mean, if you think Jesus is everything and Jesus saved everybody, honestly, I'm someone who doesn't care. That's your belief. I don't go around, spouting my spiritual beliefs all day. We have the scriptures of Jesus where in the books that were given to you. I mean, just stop. This isn't a religious forum. I'm not a religious person. Nothing's going to happen at the Giants game tonight. They're not going to, I mean, the only time that they have like a false flag related to a sports game is like something in the parking lot the day of that, they don't do anything actual in the stadium during the game. Well, so like I just want to look at this religious person who's spouting off who I took out of the ban pile today. So look at her latest comment. It's truth in caps, coward. Oh, somebody banned her. I wanted to read her comment before she got banned. But I mean, just religious people, they're just so annoying. I mean, so it's like, don't you see that religion is a Masonic construct? It's all about division and it's all about mind control and having you be a follower rather than, thinking for yourself. Believe this or else. How many religious people leave a comment like, you better believe or you're going to be punished? And it just shows that their whole thought process is fear based. Do this or the consequences. It's just like, yo, you don't believe in the Bible then? Do you guys actually pay attention to the things I say? I mean, you got to listen to what I'm saying. No, I'm not a Bible follower. I read what's in the Bible, but I don't follow what's in the Bible. I mean, if you follow what's in the Bible, well, it depends on what section you follow, but no, I'm not a religious person. I'm just, like I said, I operate by the golden rule. I mean, do the right thing. Marvel has a new movie coming out called Dark Phoenix. Again, the phoenix is the symbol of the Order of the Quest, which, according to Manly P. Hall, is what established the nation. Yeah, I decode movies. I've decoded plenty of movies. Don't you see that they do everything to mock the Bible? No, I don't see that. I see that they do all their rituals in accordance with what's in the Bible, like all this flooding of these places by biblical numbers. The Bible's their little playbook, is what it seems like. Do I believe that Freemasonry was overtaken by the Jews, or was it always a Jewish conspiracy? Well, in light of the fact that it seems that it's based in Kabbalah. Kabbalah is Jewish mysticism. It goes back to Babylon. Babylon's the longest home in history to the Jews. So I would say it's always been fundamentally Jewish. That's why it's mostly based in the Old Testament. So that said, it seems that a lot of the teachings incorporated they came from other parts of the world, like Kundalini, and so not everything about it's Jewish, but a lot of it is. Somebody says we need a truth seeker dating site. That's what the All for Truth campaign was supposed to be in part, so people could meet in their communities and start relationships and all that. So I think there's like a Bible person in here saying doing the right thing can be deception to one who is spiritually corrupted. I mean, how many people follow the Bible that are spiritually corrupted? I know tons of them. Like everyone that I know that thinks that they're holier than thou because they have the Bible. You know, doesn't really seem to matter what your religion is. It's like you're either a good person or you're not. A lot of people just hide behind their religion. So I have not heard of the movie American Satan. I have not seen Deadpool 2. This person says, yeah, the people who preach the Bible usually have good intentions, but they go about it so bad. Yeah, like that other girl in here who just got banned again today. I mean, she's like, what? You don't believe in the Bible? You're a coward. It's like, really? Really? I'd like to see her life resume up against mine. What do I think about the movie The Number 23? Well, it starts on February 23rd. We know about that date, right? 223. Starts with a dog named Ned, three-letter name, easy to add up, ends the 14th letter, E's the fifth, D's the fourth, Ned 23. If you know gematria and you go throughout that whole film, you see how much stuff is coded in the signs and everything. And you might remember it was 2 or 3 years ago, there was a story about Jim Carrey's girlfriend dying or committing suicide or something. The blog posts are still up on it. I think I forgot to put her death in my book. It might be in there, but all the numbers in her death were connected to the numbers from that movie, The Number 23. So maybe I'll do another video on it sometime. What do I think about global warming? Well, I think that as a people, we're definitely not taking care of the planet. I mean, we're not resourceful. We're wasteful. You know, I just think when I think of global warming, I'd just rather think about like, are we taking care of our environment? And the answer to that is no. And in terms of what's going on with the weather, I mean, we see those of us with eyes to see. We see what's going on in the skies. I mean, they're spraying the hell out of them. So it's like, and how long has this actually been going on for the weather modification programs? It could be that it's been going on for a very long time. They've admitted to manipulating the weather since '52, but I think we're at this period where it's just like more obvious because so many days we'll go outside and the whole sky's crisscrossed, and it never used to be that way. So more of us are catching on, but I don't know if they're purposely. It's hard to say what they're trying to do up there. I mean, are they trying to curb the damage to the environment? Are they trying to accelerate it? I don't know, but I've talked about this several times now in the last week and over the years. The greatest sign to me that something's wrong in the environment is how few insects there are. There's no bugs. The bugs are like extinct almost. You know, everywhere I've ever driven in the summer, if you go driving outside of a city, like you smash bugs everywhere. There's bugs all over your windshield, the front of your car, but it hasn't been that way like the last 5 years. You can drive a long distance and you'll get hardly any bugs on your car. So it's like, where'd all the bugs go? Somebody wrote, evil is fake. It doesn't exist. Well, I mean, I don't know about that. You like, there's good, there's bad, and there's extremes of those things. Murdering people for ritual. I mean, I don't know. What do you classify that as? It's not evil. It's very bad. I don't know. Can I talk more about the date May 19th? Off the top of my head, I'm not remembering what was up with May 19th. When did they start to do these rituals by the numbers that I'm aware of? Well, the Crusades appear to be by the numbers, as I write about in my book, so quite a while. A lot of people ask me if I study Ed Sheeran's work. I don't. Do you guys think I have any time to study anybody else's work? I don't have enough time to get through everything I want to get through. The chat jumped on me. I lost where I was. Michael Geist points out that if Sports Illustrated's right and the Astros win the 114th World Series, they'll have 114 wins on the season. That's interesting. That is interesting. I was talking about the Truman Show earlier today in the live stream that I did. Somebody's asking if I've seen the Truman Show. Astrology and tarot cards seem to be related to this study. So yeah, I think they're all part of the puzzle. Somebody says they saw just one bee this summer. Yeah, I mean, there used to be bees everywhere when I was a child. I used to get bee stings all the time. Now I can't even find any. Yeah, special case says you can barely see a blue sky these days. When I was living in the city, that was true because I mean, any day where we had clear sky before long, it was all sprayed. And then the worst part about it is, like, you can't talk to anybody about it because 'cause they're like, "What? What are you talking about?" I'm like, "What am I talking about? You didn't know the sky was all blue an hour ago, and then planes crisscrossed the whole sky, now we have this gray haze?" So we live in just, like, the weirdest times that just people can't see the obvious. All you're supposed to talk about is entertainment. You're not supposed to talk about anything that's real. "Oh, I see you just wanna talk about the movie. Okay, I can talk about the movie." Etna sliding into the sea. Let's see. Huh. I'll look into that. I'll look into that. Didn't know about it until just now. The Duger family. Israel David Dillard sums to 322. Perfect. I hate how the chat skips. I don't understand the purpose of this feature. If you're like scrolling down and trying to read and it just skips to the bottom, like, why did they make it this way? Oh, May 19th, Malcolm X's birthday. Um, May 27th, the 147th day of the year. So his birthday is the 139th day of the year. Freemasonry number. Freemasonry 139. I'm not really serious about the lifeguard chair at the wall. Obviously, that wouldn't be allowed. I was just kind of joking, but I do want to go over there and educate, let them know we're onto their plans. We see what they're doing. Nikki says there's bugs everywhere where she lives. Where do you live? Where do you live, Nikki, that there's still bugs everywhere? Because they are extinct out here. I've talked about the Armenian genocide before. I love when people say, why don't you ask Jesus if he is real? Ask earnestly, see what happens. You know what, Rachel? I used to pray every day growing up, believing as a child. And, I never had the experience that so many of you have. So I'm pretty sure that Jesus is a metaphor for the spiritual light within. And honestly, I mean, my take on all of you guys who think you talk with Jesus and, Jesus communicates with you is I think you guys have delusions. That's my personal opinion if you want me to throw it out there. So I think religion was meant to keep people on their knees waiting for something to come save them instead of having people act and save themselves. Hold the scroll bar. Is that what you got to do? Okay, I'll move it that way. See if that's the difference. You guys, when you ask questions like, was the Armenian genocide part of a plan and a ritual? What do you think? The New World Order has been in place for a long time. Everything going on in modern history is part of the ongoing thing. It's not like, oh, was this over here not part of that? We're under the New World Order and we have been for a long time. course it was. For all of you asking what my sports picks are, I just put them out on Patreon now. You got to be on my Patreon. Well, I took everybody out of the ban list today. I gave everybody a second chance, and the reason they get banned is because they keep just spamming comments and they're just loud and aggressive. I mean, they're just like hogging up the chat. So you're welcome for all the live streaming, Zenith. Frank checked out the roast of Bruce Willis and heard that comment about if the weather was any more if the name was any more Jewish, it would control the weather. Hey, Frank, do you remember what person that was said to? Because I want to look more at that name. I can't remember which person it was said to. Somebody says they got more bees than they've ever seen in their life. Well, that's good to hear in your community. It's definitely not that way out here. The only insects that I see these days are fruit flies, and I hate fruit flies. Hey, I was holding the thing and it just scrolled all the way down anyway. So that doesn't stop it either. Glad you appreciate the book, Nuna. Thank you. There's a book sale. Thank you. What are my views on people who see 1111 all the time? Well, I think a lot of people see 1111 all the time, especially once they become aware of the phenomenon of that number. So I don't really have any views on them. I just think that that's one of those things about this world. 11 didn't become the master number by accident. Somebody points up the Council of Nicaea. It is Scottish Rite of Freemasonry has the gematria of 325, and the Council of Nicaea was in the year 325 AD. And obviously, the coding of the word Masonic has a lot to do with the coding of the name Jesus, which isn't the actual biblical name. But yeah, if you haven't read about the Council of Nicaea, it was supposed to be the compromise to bring on the people who were worshiping the sun into Christianity, because The Catholic Church was trying to expand and bring in all the pagans. And I mean, it's not hard to see what happened. I mean, the whole thing with Christmas trees and the cross, those are originally pagan symbols. So I honestly feel like most Christians are people who are pretty ignorant about what information is out there about religious history and how things came to be what they are. So to me, the right spiritual belief is just to be open minded and not judgmental and criticizing people for not believing the same as them. Looks like I don't have to pick up my girlfriend today, but it also looks like I'm gonna have to feed her friend. She has a friend who lives. I imagine you guys just saw that text message on the screen. My girlfriend's in school, and now she has this friend that she goes to class with who lives an hour away, commutes an hour each day. So she's been spending the night here a lot. Yeah, she's staying with. I already knew that was going to be the case. So anyway, we've had a house guest a lot. Been feeding her and cleaning up. Just more work to do around here, but anyway, religion, it's just such a divisive thing, and it's like you can't even talk about it without pissing off somebody else. And you know, I see a lot of people writing Russian vids in the chat right now. Yeah, Russian vids was one of those channels who hid behind the camera and never put his name out there, and then stole my content and then slandered me and made all these videos saying I was a shill because I wasn't a Christian. And then, you know, the next thing I knew, I had people saying, "Oh, Zach, I liked your work, but I found out you're not a Christian." It's just like, okay, you liked my work, but now you found out I don't have the same spiritual belief system as you. So now it's just people don't see that the traps that they're falling into. You know, never in my life am I like, oh, you're that belief system, then I won't associate with you. To me, it's like I'll decide if I'm going to associate with you based on how you behave. I mean, if you're someone who's like for example, I used to give this kid a ride to school in high school, and he always wanted to sit in the back seat. And I figured it out after a few weeks of picking him up and taking him to school. And he wasn't even on the way. I had to like drive past the school to pick him up and bring him back. And he, I had some money when I was in high school because I worked so many jobs. Like sometimes I'd even get him lunch and stuff. And lo and behold, I find out this guy wanted to sit in the back of my car so he can steal the CDs out of my CD book. And I'm thinking, what in the world? So anyway, obviously I stopped hanging out with him and giving him a ride. But those are the types of things that I would disassociate people with. Oh, you're stealing from me when I'm helping you out? Well, I don't want to associate with you. But it's not like, oh, your religious belief's different than mine, then, oh, you're not in my group. Everyone who thinks like that, you know, you guys are just part of the problem. Person spamming that I'm a coward because I'm not a Christian. It's just like, come on. I'm a coward because I'm expressing the way I believe. I mean, okay. Under God says he needs a wrench. Well, you're going to have to earn it. I don't recognize you as a poster. All right, guys. I appreciate you all listening and chatting. There are a few more things I got to get done today. There's some things that I owe to my people on my Patreon account. So I got to get their work done. And I'll be back tomorrow probably, unless there's some big news story tonight, which likely won't be the case, but definitely be back tomorrow. Oh, when I go, you guys can just watch my videos if you miss me that much. So, or maybe Chigozy Truth will start up a live stream, and then you guys can all go over there. He does good work too. Yeah, if you weren't here earlier, I'm saying watch out for Monday for the market. I think I think Monday might be a really bad day for the market. I think it might be a day that history repeats itself. So, till next time, truth seekers.